So something that happens on a regular basis now, and I'm sure many of you will come across it, you'll do certain GMBs, you'll build your citations, and then boom, it gets suspended. Sometimes they get suspended until Google get further verification information, and so on and so forth. Again, how do we get out of suspensions? And I've on my screen here, I had a presentation in Chiang Mai a couple of weeks back, and I was asked, some black hat things. So I'm not saying that you need to do this for legitimate businesses, but sometimes it can happen to a legitimate business. Just give them what they ask for and move on. But for anyone who's maybe got a map listing they shouldn't have at the other end of town or in an area outside of town, that you've tried to verify and somehow get away with it, and then it gets suspended, then I'm going to talk you through some things that are going to help you. So how to get rid of the suspensions. You still get suspended. This method's time consuming. But if you want to verify, let's say outside of Glasgow, you want to drop another verification, or try and trigger another verification, warming up accounts and doing the citations 6 weeks before you go for verification, not in most cases, in some cases will allow you to do phone verification. Now, when I say warming up accounts, what do I mean by that? Now, if you just set up a Gmail and then go and try and apply a GMB to it, it looks spammy as hell, let's be honest. Accounts that have been warmed up tend to have good local guide scores. They tend to have history. They tend to have incoming and outgoing emails. Sometimes they even have AdWords attached to them. So you want to warm it up. Now, people have been known to send fake documents. So when Google asks for a document that you're there and that's your premises, some people have been known to use Photoshop to fake their tax bill or council bill or some other type of document that's going to allow verification. Now, if you're going to go down that route, and I'm not saying you have to, if you're a legit business, please ignore. But if you're going to go down that route, let's say you pay some Indian guy to manipulate something in Photoshop. Every image has something called EXIF data. If you're going to send an image to Google, make sure that you do manipulate the EXIF data. If you don't, and it says that image was created in India and you're supposed to be in Ohio, you've given yourself away straight away. So when people are doing this, when they're doing the fake document thing, they do manipulate the EXIF data. They also spoof the location. Now you can get apps on an iPhone or whatever to spoof your location relatively easy. But as I say, your account strength is something that really is important. An account with age, activity, maybe having some AdWords, and potentially a decent local guide score. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick on how to boost your authority when it comes to your Google account. There is a tool, old favourite, called GSA Image Spider. You can go and buy that from the GSA. Just Google GSA tools, and it's this one here, the gsa-online.de. These guys have a suite of tools which also includes the GSA Image Spider. Now, what it basically does is it extracts images from the web. So I can download all of the images into a folder basically, and I can search for those by keyword. Now, have you ever seen Google rank the same image multiple times? So let's just say, I don't know, hottest girl in Manchester. What you tend to see is a variation of different images. Now, the only reason that I normally do that search is because James Dooley is number one. Enough said about what he's wearing. But the point being is here as well, you can see that that image is the same girl as that, but it's a different image. She's doing a slightly different pose, slightly different size of image and all that kind of stuff. So you don't see the same image ranking multiple times on Google. They don't want that to happen. So going back to the slides, that's a before, that's an after. Now, if I want to build up my local guide score, what I can do is go to something like McDonald's, which their GMB literally has tens of thousands of images on it. And it's this particular one, which was a McDonald's in Florida, has 18,000 photos. Now, what I can use is GSE Image Spider, put in McDonald's, and it will give me 6,000 images. Put them all in a folder, and I can flip them and change the contrast and the saturation and everything else of that image in bulk using that tool, and then upload them all to a McDonald's. Now, they're all McDonald's images with burgers and whatever else they've got. And you get 5 points for every single image that you upload. Now, by doing this, round about 6,000 images is going to get you to a local guide score of 8, which takes a lot of people years to do. Now, don't ask me why it slips through. Obviously, McDonald's have tens of thousands of images on each and every single branch that they have or franchise. So you can upload in bulk to those type of locations. Even if you have nothing to do with McDonald's, you're boosting your local guide score up, which means you've got a nice, high, authoritative score and a semi-trusted account. But on top of that, you want some activity and so on and so forth. Now, what happens from there, if you've got a trusted account, is you'll be able to do pin drops. So if you get a GMB and you want to drag that location round the corner, across the street, up to 3 miles away, you can do a pin drop from a trusted account and it won't ask you to do re-verification. Secondly, if you're going to use a false address, go to the local council website, look for a place that is being rented out and try and use that address. You can revive old domain names and grab their GMBs just by setting up the email address again. I've done that with Cardiff City Stadium.co.uk, which is a domain that I own. And you can see that I also own the GMB. It's just a little website. So you can use expired domains for that type of thing. But what you want to do to build that local guide score up is be able to upload plenty of images to different McDonald's or other food outlets and use GSE Image Spider to boost that score up. That works very, very well and is a nice little trick. Reviews. A lot of people talk about Google reviews are like the link building for the map listings. The big problem at the moment is hardly anyone is able to give you fake reviews that stick. Now, I know in most cases you want to try and force your customer to leave you a real review, but we all know that trying to force a customer to do that is extremely difficult. So a lot of people go out there and pay for these reviews. If they're not from local people, if they are not from aged accounts that have traffic, history, power, local guide score, then those reviews are very often removed within weeks of them being placed. Google are going through a big period of removing reviews, so there is no amazing review specialist out there, but reviews work very, very well. So you need to try and make sure that you do get reviews. Now, How can you force a client to give you the reviews? You can't. You've got to make it easy for them though, and you know, you have to basically lay it in a plate for them. Drop them an email saying, "Can you leave me a review here? Here's the URL to link to or the link to your GMB, and ask them to leave you a review." Real reviews work very, very well, and if those reviews kind of contain keywords as well, even if it's not from the client, even your response to the client, that also gives you a little nudge. However, don't come back to me saying, "Craig, tell me a review specialist, a guy." We literally don't know anyone at present who is able to get reviews that actually stick, that are fake. So always try and get real reviews. Reviews are another thing that works very, very well. Things that you can do. So this is a friend of mine's GMB, Graham Greavy. Now, obviously I could go and leave him a review. That is going to work well for him. I can also upload photos of his office. Adding photos to your own GMB will, of course, help its activity. It's more for people to see. It looks active, but also adding photos that maybe have a 0% opacity overlay with your keyword over those images is also another way of putting your keyword onto your GMB. And again, for many years, people have images with a 0% opacity overlays, putting their brand name, their keyword, or whatever they choose to do in there. So that's some little golden nuggets of what other people are doing. There's not a heap else you can do in order to rank your GMB that's actually going to have any kind of long-term effect. But that is essentially how you rank a GMB. Relatively, I wouldn't say simple and straightforward. It's tedious and boring, but that is the kind of process that you need to get your GMB moving through the rankings.